Hey YouTube, I want to talk a little bit about tarot cards for the year, that whole concept, and specifically going from 2019 to 2020. You may, I don't know if everybody had this, but you may have your order not be in order. So in other words, your 19 card and your 20 card might not be the tarot cards that come one after the other in the major arcana because of the way numbers work and the zeros in the year. It changes it. So math. But so for me, I'm going to talk about my personal example. For me, I'm going from a star year to a hermit year. So if you add up my birth date and 2019, you get star, and then if you do it with 2020, you get hermit. And that technically is backwards. But of course, as we all know, tarot is a spiral. It is not here, it is not always in that order, and that's okay. So, star to hermit. And so I started, it seemed totally random, and I started thinking about it, and I came up with some interesting things. So, particularly I was thinking about how star, which is 17, contains within it strength, which is 8. Yes, I did that right. So 1 plus 7, 8. So star always contains strength. Strength does come right before the hermit. And specifically for me, thinking about how that order works. So going from like strength and star to hermit, but not hermit and 18. Moon. Not hermit and moon because of the way the years work. It's not an 18, it's just a 9. And then the connection between hermit and star. So strength is a card that kept showing up for me throughout 2019 in reverse. And star, I was experiencing, star can be about healing. Lindsay Mack talks about it also as about incubation, and I think that was maybe the feeling I had more, the felt sense of my star year. There was healing there, yes, but it felt more like just non-movement, kind of cocooning, kind of, which is weird because I was thinking like, oh, hermit's coming, but I've almost already had a hermit in the sense of cocooning, sense of like waiting. Not a lot happened until the very end of the year when a lot happened. And thinking about that strength reversed, I realized suddenly at the end of the year what that was referring to. And it was my lack of acknowledgement. I think I'm going to talk about this in a video that probably hasn't come out yet, and I don't want to spoil. But I will leave a card later, so if you're seeing this later, you'll see the connection. But anyway, I'll be talking more about this in a later video. But that realization was like, ooh, I think the strength reversed is about my lack of acknowledgement of some fears I have. And then we move into 2020, and my birthday's in early March, so technically the transition hasn't happened as the time I'm recording this. Won't happen till early March. But it's interesting, in the very beginning of this year is that I'm doing a lot of like, whoa, getting hit by acknowledging that fear and then what that means for me next, which didn't feel very hermity, except it kind of does, because I'm learning so much about myself from this transition from non-movement into sudden movement. And though the hermit doesn't feel like a whole lot of movement, it kind of can be, because he's walking with the lantern and he's going somewhere. And there is this feeling of also the star being captured in the light of the lantern. So the idea of going towards something, or the idea of hope, is kind of beautiful. And so I think for me, like, I'm realizing that the hermit experience for me may not be super still and cocooned in that way, but maybe more about bursting forth into myself. So I had this idea when I was reading actually the Dust to Onyx Tarot guidebook, an amazing deck that you should pick up, and contrasting how the Fool kind of bursts out into the world. I'm beginning the Fool a lot at the very beginning of the year when a certain decision was made that I'll talk about in a later video. So look for my big announcement. It's premiering on maybe I am releasing this after. When am I releasing this video? Let's pause this video to find out what day it is as you're watching this video. That'll be fun, right? What am I talking about? Where am I? Who am I? That is ridiculous. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, I've totally already okay, so you've seen this announcement. Never mind. It's the announcement video. If you haven't seen it, the card was probably just up there and you can go check it out. Pause for spoilers. Go watch. Okay, cool. So you know that I made a huge decision to take a leap of faith, to embrace my inner fool, and to move across the country for people I love. And that's a big thing for me, and I can't believe it. And I've been actually, so this is hopefully coming out the day after my birthday, and so I've just had an amazing weekend party, I hope, which I'm hosting on Leap Day because I'm leaping into 35. So 35 is the age I've wanted to be since I was a tiny human, and so much of the energy of this like transition from 2019 to 20 for me has been about closing out a huge cycle of my life, the first 35 years of my life, going from being really ambition focused to something different. And so it's a leap for me in a full sense, in a leap year sense, in all sorts of senses. And here we are, and as you're seeing this, I am 35 and 1 days old, assuming I release this when I planned to. So, yeah, so there's this Fool energy for me as well. And so if Fool is bursting out into the world, then Hermit is bursting out into the self. So how can this external experience of doing this leap, of this journey, this venture across the country also encompass a lot of self-discovery? And I'm probably going to learn a lot about myself this year. What does it mean to have done this? What does it mean to be in relationship with these people differently than I've been in a relationship before? And using that light of the star to kind of guide self-exploration. And so even though the order seems backwards or wrong, it is in fact exactly right. The things I've learned from this sitting in the star become the light that I'm going towards, and being in that state of non-movement has maybe taught me something about what I want to move toward. And maybe doing the healing work after my big fat tower year definitely has a direct relationship. I mean, that tower year for me was all about, or not all about, but a lot about the end of two relationships, one personal, one professional. And so now I'm coming in 2 years later to this very different way of relating. And what does that mean? Who knows? But that is my leap into 35. That is my movement as we speak, my first day of my my Hermit year, and coming from the star. So I would love to hear, what lessons have you learned in your 2019? What card was that? What card you're going into? Leave comments if you want to let me know, and don't forget to subscribe to learn more about how this Hermit year goes.